Kaboom! Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a great week. Wrapping it up, heading to the weekend. Obviously, what a week of news for the hobby, right? From PWCC earlier in the week to, some little news about it. Hybrid laying off people. I think they were just cleaning the house, getting rid of some underperformers. And then obviously the big news yesterday with TOPPS and everything happening with Fanatics, now gaining the Major League Baseball license. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, just day after thoughts. I also had a chance today after work, headed down to Coeur d'Alene and checked out a sports card shop that I'm pretty excited about. So I'll tell you more about that here in a second, but was able to jump in there, talk to those guys and kind of get their feedback on what was happening with TOPPS and also just interact. I walked away with an Allen and Ginter box that my oldest son opened and then some Pokemon cards for my two middle kids. I also walked away with some cool singles that I'll show you here in a second. I was pretty excited about. But just, I'm really interested to see kind of what happens. And if you follow, if you're in the hobby, you should be following Darren Ravel first off. He kind of updated us with a couple key thoughts throughout the day. The obvious one, and we knew this yesterday when we were talking about it, Mike and I, that the Murdoch deal is obviously off the table, right? The IPOing of TOPPS, we knew. I mean, TOPPS was a shell of themselves. That was very evident based on what we knew yesterday. You're not gonna IPO with some soccer brands and garbage pail kids. It wasn't gonna work. So that fell through this morning officially. The key to me in any of this, and as I thought about it last night, is really what's going to happen with TOPPS IP, their intellectual property, because that to me is what is the most important thing in all this, right? There's obviously the distribution side of this that I think is going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, right? Fanatics has a very well-oiled direct-to-consumer machine. They know how to do it. What will they do when it comes to working through that channel that's already in place? Is that channel kind of going to be non-existent come 2025 or before that? That's a huge question that I think will have to get answered. I think a lot of these pieces will get themselves figured out. But I know, just even talking to the guys at the car shop today, right? That was their concern. It was not so much a concern about the strength of the hobby. It was more a concern of what happens at a localized manner and all these relationships they worked really hard to build. What they start from ground one again? How's that going to work? So that's something I'm going to be watching very, very closely. Again, the TOPPS IP stuff. Darren Ravel mentioned this, right? I mean, he said strategic timing by Fanatics to terminate their agreement right before this SEC, right before the Murdoch Capital board meeting next week. And they mentioned how they can now buy TOPPS for pennies on the dollar. That's quite an interesting and bold statement, because that's, I think, something that was floating around heavily yesterday in the social media world. But another thing that he said was very interesting to me is that the New York Times reports TOPPS claim, and this was a couple hours ago as I'm recording this on Friday evening, that the trading card company at TOPPS execs were unaware of the Major League Baseball Association negotiating licensing rights beyond the current deal. They were not given a right to continue, as they were told Fanatics was the winner. If that indeed is the truth, that to me just sends the absolute wrong signal. And we were all, I think if you look at the comments, and next week we'll do a comment recap video. So many great thoughts from you. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment below. We really do appreciate it. But so many of you were hinting about just the way this feels. And I agree, this doesn't feel right. That it's a money grab, and that it just seems like they're really trying to capitalize on money for players, for the league, and not even worrying about what the collectors who drive this hobby, what they might think of this. Do I think it potentially could screw up the growth of the hobby in general? I don't know yet. I think a lot of it again comes down to how are they going to integrate the pieces of TOPPS, because if they are going to scratch the brands and scratch the history of TOPPS and start from ground zero, like I think it's going to be a rude awakening for Fanatics, because I think the loyalist and just the deep ingrained culture that TOPPS has built is going to be really, really hard, nearly impossible to replace unless Fanatics can somehow bring that into their family of brands. So very interesting how it looks like Major League Baseball approached this. If they indeed did not contact TOPPS, negotiated this deal. It's 2021 August, and this deal goes through Players Association through into 2023, and the league deal in 2025. I'm talking 3.5 to 4.5 years in advance. Like, I mean, that is an insane slap in the face to a company that has supported your brand and helped build up baseball for 70 plus years. That to me was definitely not cool. Now, the other thing that I think will be interesting is Panini's place in this, because it looks very clear, according to the Wall Street Journal and ESPN, that the players' associations for the NFL and NBA are both on board with this deal. The NBA and the Major League Baseball leagues are in on this deal. So by 2025 and 2026 for the NBA, they're in on the deal. So what does that mean, right? I think MLB is going to be exclusive. They didn't hint towards, basketball or football being exclusive, but at the very least, it looks like Panini's in jeopardy of losing something. At the very least, they're in jeopardy of losing exclusivity. At least that's the way it reads to me. And then it mentions that although the NFL Players Union was a part of the Players Association was a part of this, the league hasn't necessarily bought into this deal with Fanatics. So some very interesting pieces there. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if we saw some more news in the next few weeks about how this affects Panini. And that if you centralize all of this under one brand with Fanatics, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Because look, there's a lot of IP with Panini too that I think should not be taken for granted. But all in all, I think I agree with the general consensus that you just have to be very fluid in this hobby. And, the projections that by whatever they said, 2045, this will bring them, $2 to $4 billion. It's like, okay, well, that's bold. That's really bold. But I guess I don't disagree that at the pace the hobby's growing, that in 3 years, if they can figure this out, that it's going to totally screw the hobby over. I really don't hope so, but there's a lot of moving parts right now that I think we all want answered. So one other tweet that I want to mention is Nat Turner's that came out a few hours ago. And he mentioned this. He said, what I'm hoping to see out of this Fanatics getting into the card business is number one, no more sticker autos. Number two, actual inserts with chase insert odds as opposed to 1,000 parallels like the old days. Number three, better card design, higher the arenas. And then number four, acquire iconic brands to use. That to me is that's very good to see, because Nat Turner's influencing this. And maybe not specifically this deal, but he's influencing the culture that is being bred here. And Nat Turner comes at it from the place of a collector. I think a collector first. So, and I think all those are great points. If you were to give us those 4 bullet points and you were to integrate that into the approach from Fanatics, I think all of us would be pretty excited about the prospects of what could happen. So I think we can stay positive, knowing that there is potentially some good changes happening. There's a lot of things that we need answered. There's a lot of things that could potentially be frustrating through the supply chain, the distribution model, with card shops, with breakers. We've also been texting with and staying in contact with, some of them are pretty darn nervous about, allocations and how they can manage their business. But we got a lot of time to figure this out. So anyway, thanks for listening to that. Let me show you some cards that I got today from the card shop. And while I'm showing you those cards, I kind of share some thoughts from the guys. All right, so let me show you some cards real quick that I picked up over at Pick 6 Sports Cards in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So if you're in middle to northern Idaho and you want to go check out a cool card shop, go check out the guys over at Pick 6 Sports Cards. If you're going to be at the show in Las Vegas, which is the Industry Summit card show on Friday and Saturday, they will be there as well. Go check out their booth. I think there's also a card show that's going to be in Spokane in October that they'll be at as well. So good guys over there. I appreciate you giving us some time to hang out with you. Let me show you what I pulled from their shop. So a couple cards that I got. I spent $40 and snagged all these singles. I'll start with the cards that we pulled out of the Allen and Ginter box that we opened. So we got a couple relics, right? You got good old, here you go, Azuna. We got a Flaherty. And we got a Reese Hoskins framed auto. So always love opening Ginter. Jackson's up there sorting cards now. Now some cards I found in their bin, in their 3,200 count boxes that I'm kind of excited about. Tyrese Maxey Select Premier Level Silver. I was pretty excited about that. Didn't have a lot of Maxies that I'm a big fan of. All right, Stephon Diggs Chrome Refractor rookie card. Big fan of Diggs. You know, I would be hunting some Drew Locks. I got a Drew Lock Elite number to 299. Jackson is a Seattle Seahawks fan, as mentioned, so we grab what we could from him. We got a Phoenix DK Metcalf rookie card, 2019. I'm a big fan of Donruss Clearly. I didn't have any, and I like it more because you can see me through the card. So I grabbed some cool Clearly cards that I liked. You got the Wiseman, the rookies insert. We got the Damian Lillard, My House. Again, cards that will just be sitting in our collection. We got quite a few Steph Currys. Jackson influenced me to get all these Steph Currys. We got some rated rookies. We got another Maxey, Cole Anthony. We grabbed, what did we grab? 3 Peyton Pritchards. We grabbed another Maxey. Got my boy Campazzo from Denver, the 29-year-old rookie sensation. Might be a stretch. We got a Steph Curry, clearly dominant. A 2020-21 Hoops prime twine, excuse me, Steph Curry. And then the card I was most excited about for all you baseball geeks. All right, so the card that I was most excited about for all you baseball geeks was my Brady Singer Museum Collection dual relic auto, numbered 214 to 349. We did not have a Brady Singer auto. Plenty of his rookies. Got a few at PSA now. Again, go check them out. Pick 6 Sports Cards. I'll just say this, right? And chatting with those guys up there. First off, it was pretty fun to hold a 2006 SP Signatures Michael Jordan autograph. I think jersey number 23 of 50. I think he had it selling for $60,000. I think it was. I did get a chance to look at the 2021 Elements football that came out today. The Nuclear, I think there's a case hit Nuclear. They pulled a Brady in the shop. That was pretty fun, which, by the way, those Nuclears are awesome. I mean, take a look at this. This thing is incredible. Just in terms of feedback from the guys over there at Pick 6, I think number one takeaway, they weren't necessarily flustered by the news. Obviously, there's a lot of unknowns. That was good. But from a shop perspective, in the middle of Idaho, they were excited because they didn't feel the evolution of the hobby was going to be slowed by this. Yes, they're concerned about the distribution model and how that might impact them, but not necessarily that they don't have time to go build the relationships with fanatics, or that the brands were going to be cut out of this. They just didn't feel that way. Again, day after type conversation, a lot to figure out, but it was just good to hear a positive card shop owner just talking about their perspective and feeling like, what, we're going to be okay. We feel that the hobby is moving at the right pace. We moved in 6 years ago when TOPPS lost its license with football, and everyone freaked out then. And here we are today. And you could look at every year with the growth happening across sports and feel pretty confident that we're on the right track for continued growth in the hobby. So that was pretty good feedback. I thought pretty honest conversation. So anyway, have yourself an awesome weekend. My son and I are going to be breaking an entire case of Prism Draft football tomorrow. So I'll record that and have it out for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. All right. We'll see you. Bye.